As promised, we are back on the Cowboys Report for the second time today, and I would actually wager not the last. The Cowboys have begun their 53-man roster cuts beyond just the Lyle Collins release on Sunday afternoon, evening. 8 players have now been released in some fashion, and reportedly a decision made on Mazi Smith. We'll get to him in just a little bit. The releases, though, have been made official by the team, so I want to focus on those here. There's a couple different types of moves we'll discuss today and over the next 24 hours and change. Released means you're a vested veteran. You do not go through waivers. You become a free agent, go to a practice squad, go somewhere else, you get to pick your next spot. Waived means you go through waivers. Teams can claim you to their own active rosters. Waived injured means you got waived, but you're then going to go to IR if you are unclaimed, and 99.5 times out of 100, maybe 0.8 times out of 100, if you're waived injured, you don't get claimed, and you often get bought out of IR as well. Now, we are going to have a lot of Cowboys videos for you as promised, so do not miss out. Turn your notifications to all. Don't keep them on personalized. That way, when there is a Cowboys Report video, when news happens, you get a push sent right to your phone. So if you haven't already, turn those notifications on. Of course, you got to make sure you're subscribed as well. Let's get to the latest on Mazi Smith. Noted Cowboys insider Bryan Broaddus responding to a question on Twitter about Mazi Smith's future, saying that Mazi Smith is on the team, which I think should be taken as a pretty clear indication he's making the 53-man roster. There will be no release. There will be no trade. I do buy this is the outcome for the Cowboys. We know how much they love their draft picks. They don't want to give up on Mazi Smith quite yet. I would argue you don't have the defensive tackles to give up on Mazi Smith quite yet. But the clock is ticking for the former Michigan product. I would still like to go try to acquire more defensive tackle help before week 1 of the season gets going. But I don't think the Cowboys are in a position to justify moving on from Mazi. They don't have enough at defensive tackle in general, and I think they're better off trying to keep their fingers crossed that a breakthrough ends up emerging, even though it may not ever come. So is keeping Mazi Smith the right move? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's video. Assuming this continues to be the case, which Broaddus I trust. Is this the right move? Y for yes, N for no. 2 news items I want to get into as part of then like the regular waived cuts here. So Lyle Collins, vested veteran. We did a short on this on Sunday afternoon. That Lyle Collins has been released by the team. I do think he is a candidate to head down to the practice squad. He's a vested veteran. He wouldn't have to go through waivers. I do think there is a possibility that he just gets to reunite with the Cowboys. Certainly sounds like he was in better shape this time than he was originally, even though originally we had been told that he was good in the end. So we'll see what happens on that front, but Collins has been released by the team. The one waived injured player is Christian Matthew, the cornerback, which, again, isn't necessarily surprising here either. He suffered a groin injury the preseason. I would fully anticipate gets bought out from injured reserve. I would be pretty surprised if he sticks around on IR. I think he's going to get bought out and probably go somewhere else if he gets a shot. I didn't think he was ever going to be I don't think he's a real practice squad candidate either, but Matthew has been waived injured. All right, the first regular cut. No surprise here. Wide receiver Josh Kelly, the Texas Tech product, who just never really did a whole lot in the preseason, was either the second to last or last receiver onto the field each game. I would frankly be a little bit surprised if he ended up being a practice squad candidate. I just feel like it is more likely they go with a Jalen Cropper, a Trayshawn Holden, a Jalen Brooks. I anticipate your wide receiver room looking like CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin. Those guys are locks. Mingo will be placed on IR at roster cutdown time and then won't count against it. Comes back later. And then Flanoy, maybe Brooks. Some buzz that there's been 5. This is my final projection too. Cowboys only go 5. And it might be Flanoy over Brooks, but that one is by no means set in stone. Today's show is made possible by Chubbies. I am rocking a Chubbies NFL collection polo. Chubbies is the ultimate football apparel brand, so much so, they created their own fantasy football league. George Kittle, Ian Rappaport, and others have come together to assemble the Chubbies League on NFL Fantasy. Each week, the top 5 scorers will win a chance at a Chubbies polo/shorts combo with their team's logo. The grand champion gets the chance at the ultimate fan experience, a 5-city, 5-stadium NFL game tour with a +1. While the fantasy flop faces a hilarious and unforgettable punishment only Chubbies could pull off. Head to chubbyshorts.com/thechubbiesleague to learn more and have some fun. Get ready for the most outrageous fantasy football season of your life. And oh, by the way, for a limited time, they're giving you $10 off with the promo code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. That's $10 off your order with the promo code ChatSports, and that includes the NFL collection. So the polo I'm rocking, you can get $10 off it and paid less than I did. Support your show and tell them that we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubbies. It's chubbyshorts.com/chatsports and use code ChatSports. Some more Cowboys cuts here. Tight end John Stevens, maybe one of the more recognizable names we'll discuss here. He didn't have a great training camp and was also very quiet in the preseason. I think it was already pretty obvious Rivaldo Fairweather had surpassed him. I think there's an outside chance that Princeton Fant also makes the 53-man roster, but I wouldn't be surprised if Stevens actually gets to end up being left off the roster in that or in the practice squad. There's another tight end cut we'll get to in a second, but first, who do you guys want to cut? Not to be mean to anybody, but it's cut down time. This is the reality of life in the NFL. Name a player who you guys want to release. The other tight end who has been released is Tyler Neville. Outside shot, he's a practice squad guy. I feel like the Cowboys have options, though, at tight end in general. Again, I don't know if anyone is truly surprised by any of these first three offensive cuts. It seems pretty obvious that they just weren't ever going to be on the roster. So a matter of when, not if, they end up getting released from the Cowboys organization. That just seemed like an obvious decision. This is the current tight end room, updated with the roster cuts and more moves to come. There's 5 right now. Princeton Fant, I was thinking about this overnight. If there's one thing I had to guess would be wrong on my roster projection, I wouldn't be that shocked if the Cowboys took Princeton Fant over a running back in Deuce Vaughn, who I think it might come down to from the Cowboys' perspective. Do you carry a 4th tight end, a 4th running back, or a 6th receiver? You might get to pick one of those, and I think Fant would be that 4th tight end. Otherwise, he's a prime practice squad candidate. I think Rivaldo Fairweather is also a pretty good practice squad candidate. All right, defensively, 2 cuts here. Denzel Daxon, the defensive tackle, has been released. This is not a surprise. He's not an NFL active roster player. I would once again anticipate, though, Daxon making it to the practice squad. No one's going to claim him. He is an international player pathway program, so he is, as far as I know, still eligible for that free practice squad spot. That is a free practice squad spot, not a free roster spot. So Daxon is going to head down there to the practice squad would be my guess. That leaves this as your defensive tackle room. Osa, Mazi, Solomon Thomas will be your top 3. Who's that 4th one? Is it Jay Toia? Is it Perion Winfrey? I saw my guy Bobby Belt put Ernest Brown on his roster. I genuinely would not understand that. I don't think that makes any sense. I would actually hate that move, especially if it's over Toia or Winfrey. I would like one of those 2 guys, or go get somebody better. It's my mindset. All right, name a player who you want on the practice squad. I would assume Tommy Akinbaswate makes it, but we'll see. I don't think he's going to be a 53-man roster guy. So name a player who you want on the practice squad. All right, Troy Pride Jr., the corner, is next up here. He's been a bit of a journeyman. He was with the Panthers recently. This is maybe the guy that had the highest chance of making it of a week ago. But as soon as Andrew Booth didn't play in the final preseason game, that was your alert of, okay, he's going to make it. Troy Pride will not. Chance he gets to the practice squad. I'm very curious what the Cowboys elect to do here at corner. Every year they add a couple players that weren't on their own roster to their practice squad. I wonder if corner is an area in which they consider that. Because Michael Ojimudi is not going to make it. Robert Rochelle's, I kind of don't want him there. So corner is one to monitor for practice squad moves. Finally, Nick Broeker, the offensive lineman who the Cowboys claimed off of waivers like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, something like that, has bounced around the NFL, Steelers, Houston. He was never going to make it either. I don't think he's that viable of a practice squad candidate necessarily either. But the offensive line is starting to take some shape here with Collins and Broeker being released down to a more normal number of 14, but still 4-ish cuts to come on that front. I guess 3-ish cuts if I'm not counting Jones on IR.